On the news tonight, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu departs Nigeria to France for new Global Financial Pact Summit. Vice President Shettima decorates new Inspector General of Police Kayode Egbetokun. And Nigerian Television Authority heads of finance and chief accountants brainstorm in Abuja. Hello, glad to have you join us on the news at 7 on Nta Channel 5, Abuja. I am Mariam George Jitubo. President Bola Tinubu has approved the return of the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, and the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria to the office of the Vice President for Supervision in compliance with their various establishment acts. The President has also approved a formal structure for the office of the Vice President, as well as an appropriate number of technical and administrative aides that will work with the Vice President in the discharge of his responsibilities. President Bola Tinubu has departed Abuja for Paris to participate in the Summit for New Global Financial Pact, which begins on Thursday, 22nd of June 2023. The President left Abuja at about 11 a.m. via the presidential wing of the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport for his first official trip abroad. The President will join other world leaders to review and sign a new global financial pact that places vulnerable countries on priority list for support and investment following devastating impact of climate change, energy crisis, and after effect of the COVID-19 pandemic. The two-day summit will also look at opportunities to restore fiscal space to countries that face difficult short-term financial challenges, especially the most indebted, mobilize innovative financing for countries vulnerable to climate change, foster development in low-income countries, and encourage investment in green infrastructure for the energy transition in emerging and developing economies. The Special Advisor to the President on Special Duties, Communication and Strategy, Dele Alake, says the trip holds a lot of potential for the country.
That he's been making in terms of invigorating the Nigerian economy, rejuvenating the entire society, and revamping the socio-economic and political space of Nigeria. Now, essentially, this trip is to further cement Nigeria's economic prospects. Don't forget that a couple of days back, the President made some very critical decisions in the area of the economy, specifically on the unification of the multiple exchange rate of the Naira. And we expect that in the short run, there could be a spike in the value of the dollar to the Naira. And his trip here is to convince the European Union and European investors to bring in the much needed direct foreign investment into Nigeria to shore up the value of our own currency locally in the short run, while all the policies being put in place and being planned and programs will begin to yield fruit. Mr. President is going to talk to investors across the globe who are gathered in Paris, and they have invited him. I was there about a week ago when the President of the European Union placed a call or made a call directly to him, inviting him to Paris to meet with other world leaders and heavy international finance investors all over the world to make Nigeria a cynosure of eyes and to bring in their foreign investment into Nigeria, which we need at the moment. So, apart from making policies, executing programs and projects, there is the symbolism of this office of the presidency, and that is carrying the goodwill of Nigeria outside the shores of this country into the international arena, so that the international community would look favorably at Nigeria. And they are beginning to see that, because however much you put effort in foreign relations, your direct successful result of foreign relation efforts will be contingent upon the efficacy and proficiency of your domestic policies. Now, in the last two weeks or 3 weeks, the international community has seen the efficacy of our domestic policies, and they are beginning to open up to us, and they are beginning to be encouraged. And you can see, as a journalist yourself, I'm sure you've read about the very favorable reports on Nigeria's situation since President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu took over.
Nigeria now has new service chiefs, the Inspector General of Police, Advisor, as well as Comptroller General of Customs. This follows President Bola Tinubu's approval of the immediate retirement of all the former ones. Abdullahi Ajia has more.
The newly appointed officers are Malam Nuhuri Badu, National Security Advisor, Major General C.G. Musa, Chief of Defense Staff, Major T.A. Lagbaja, Chief of Army Staff, Rear Admiral E.A. Ogalla, Chief of Naval Staff, AVM H.B. Abubakar, Chief of Air Staff, DIG Kayode Egbetokun, Acting Inspector General of Police, Major General EPA Odiendeye, Chief of Defense Intelligence. Mr. President also approved the following appointments: Colonel Adebisi Onasaya, Brigade of Guards Commander, Lieutenant Colonel Moshood Abiodun Yusuf, 7th Guards Battalion, Asukuru, Abuja, Lieutenant Colonel Awalu Baba Inwa, 177 Guards Battalion, Kefi, Nasarawa State, Lieutenant Colonel Mohammed J. Abdul Karim, 102 Guards Battalion, Suleja, Niger State, Lieutenant Colonel Olumide A. Akingbeshote, 176 Guards Battalion, Gwagwalada, Abuja. The President has approved the appointments of other military officers in the presidential villa as follows: Major Isa Farouk Audu, Commanding Officer, State House Artillery; Captain Kazim Olalekon Sumonu, Second in Command; Major Kamaru Koyejo Hamzat, Commanding Officer, State House Military Intelligence; Major T.S. Adiola, Commanding Officer, State House Armament; Lieutenant A. Aminu, Second in Command, State House Armament. Mr. President has also approved the appointments of 2 additional special advisors and 2 senior assistants, namely Hadiza Bala Usman, Special Advisor, Policy Coordination; Hannatu Musa Musawa, Special Advisor, Culture and Entertainment Economy; Senator Abdullahi Abubakar Gumel, Senior Special Assistant, National Assembly Matters, Senate; Honorable Olaruwaji Kunle Ibrahim, Senior Special Assistant, National Assembly Matters, House of Representatives. The President also approved the appointment of Adebiyi Bashir Adewale as the Acting Comptroller General of Customs. The statement further states that the appointed service chiefs, the Inspector General of Police and the Comptroller General of Customs are to act in their positions pending their confirmation in accordance with the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Abdullahi Ajia, NTA News.
Meanwhile, Vice President Kashim Shettima has decorated Kayode Egbetokun as the new Inspector General of Police. The brief event held at the VP's office, State House, was witnessed by the outgoing IG, Usman Alkali Baba, Chief of Staff to the President, Femi Gbajabiamila, Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, among others.
Right now, I feel like a tiger inside of me, ready to chase away all the criminals in Nigeria. And some other time, I feel like a lion in me, ready to devour all the enemies, internal enemies of Nigeria. That's my feeling right now.
We grew up together. I was his boss at the time, not even when I was IG. He worked under me twice. We've been working together, and I know how he can go ahead to champion the cause of the police from where I have stopped.
The newly decorated IG appointed by President Bola Tinubu yesterday said he is ready to take on the enemy of state within the country. State House correspondent Musbah Odan Wahab reports that the outgoing IG is expected to hand over to his successor tomorrow, Wednesday. The Director General, Nigerian Television Authority, Saliu Abdulhamid Dembo, says the Directorate of Finance must work endlessly to ensure best practices in safeguarding revenue of the organization. The DG NTA was speaking at the annual conference of heads of finance and chief accountants of Nigerian Television Authority nationwide. Sophia Norma Uche reports that the Executive Director News, Ayo Adewi, represented the DG at the event.
The message of the NTA Director General to the Finance Directorate is in line with the mandate of the organization. Ensuring fiscal and financial responsibility is upmost. Executive Director News, Ayo Adewe, who represented NTA Director General, listed the core requirements in area of value-added task, stamp duty, and others which affect operations and running costs of the NTA.
I would like to use this opportunity, therefore, to encourage the Executive Director of Finance and his team to work endlessly on areas where the NTA accounting arrangements, in particular, are faulty, especially as required by law and best practices.
He said the theme of the event is apt and all must step up in utilization and asset management. Amidst celebration and recognition of new executives of the authority, the theme of management gave their goodwill messages.
We humbly appreciate the Director General's magnanimity in providing headquarters finance with the state-of-art desktop computers.
Being connected and respected unites team members to achieve their aim.
Auditor General of the Federation, Andrew Ogochukwu, says NTA should entrench transparency and adhere to rules and regulations of finance and accounting.
The only way out is to ensure that things are done differently from the usual practice.
Participants were encouraged to engage on professional training for self-development. The event is yearly and organizers as well as participants assured of improved performance. Sophia Norma Uche, NTA News.
The Federal High Court sitting in Abuja has reserved judgment in a matter between Nnamdi Kanu and the Directorate of State Service (DSS) to 20th July 2023. Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, seeks an order of the court to compel the DSS to allow him access to his medical doctors. Miriam Emeka Amadi of our judiciary desk reports that the presiding judge, Justice Binta Nyako, gave the order in Abuja.
Nnamdi Kanu, in a motion dated 2nd February 2023, through his lead counsel Michael Zekome's son, sought an order of mandamus compelling the respondent DSS to allow him unhindered access to his medical doctors to enable them conduct an independent examination of his present health condition, as earlier ordered by the Federal High Court. The court had earlier gave an order on the 21st October 2021 to allow the applicant and defendant have access to 3 persons per week on visitation. This, the lead counsel to the applicant and defendant, Mike Ozekome's son, asserted that the DSS has not carried out the orders. Ozekome's son alleged that the disposition of DSS to the order was against Section 7 of Anti-Torture Act 2017. It is in the light of this that counsel to Nnamdi Kanu prayed the court to grant the request of the applicant. The application was supported by a 9-paragraph affidavit and 10 exhibits. Counsel to the respondent in the matter, Abubakar Danlami, is challenging the jurisdiction of the court to entertain the matter. Danlami therefore asked the court to dismiss the application after the adumberation and adoption of the final written addresses by both counsel. The court reserved its verdict on the matter.
The law says, the Supreme Court, is that you should come and stand trial. To come and stand trial means that you should be healthy enough, you should be alive to stand trial, because dead men don't stand trial, only the living. And then Nnamdi Kanu has to be alive and be well to stand trial.
By 20 July 2023, the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja is expected to deliver its verdict on Nnamdi Kanu's application. In Abuja, Miriam Emekamadi, NTA News.
Niger, how on a day? The Global Strengthening Families Conference is here once again. Join the Strengthening Families Conference Abuja 2023 happening at the Abuja International Conference Center from 21st to 22nd June 2023 with the theme Strengthening Marriages. This conference will be both virtual and in person. Visit www.strengtheningfamily.org to register and participate. Remember, registration is free.
Take it from me, the mind-blowing way to do things is the Glow LTE advanced way. When you stream, it's like you're in the drama itself. When you make calls, you reach where others can't. Fluffy! Doing business is like running Wall Street from your street. And when you play,
I did beat you guy. We'll see about that.
It's like traveling the world without moving an inch.
Is that Toby in your room?
You can download in the blink of an eye in 4K.
Go.
And when you go for your dreams, it's like running with the strength of 3 nations behind you.
Glow LTE Advanced, the power of 3 data networks in one. Get a Glow SIM or dial *301#.
Up next, Sports Brief.
President of the Wheelchair Basketball Federation, Sheyi Johnson, has said the forthcoming Abeokuta Championship is expected to be one of the most important tournaments for players. The National Championship, which will be staged from 22nd to 25th June 2023 at the Abeokuta Sports Stadium in Ogun State, will also serve as a selection for this year's Africa Para Games in Ghana. Meanwhile, African Basketball League President Gal Fall has signed a contract extension with Rwanda, which will see the country host the competition until 2028. Under the partnership, Kigali will continue to host the BAL Games, including the playoffs and finals, in 2024, 2026 and 2028. In football, the hope of Cameroon taking part in this year's Under-23 African Cup of Nations has finally been dashed after the Court of Arbitration for Sport ruled in favor of Gabon of Cameroon, but Gabon approached the appeal and got their tickets back. With Sports Brief, Francisca Bile, NTA News.
And that concludes the news in English. Up next, translations. Good night.
Wizo kwa wei wona na yu abada no atuko na tuko isha daje zuma oniye wa babagai ase no akin tuko da bae be se no aje inwiye onko bele en Paris bada en France yin tuko da Bola Tinubu na ye wala lakala nzai we lakala na ye na la ben saka ogun awoche gban na no akin zuna no asese bae be shi abo awe tukotunu akimbo no be na boy pale nu avun tukotunu osanbo na bai akpe potanu abala tukotuge ajege nyabo akola jezebe akinye mbai inpe bai be shi awe abo awe nu tukotunu akimbo mba na tashi akin ajelo no awe tige akpeshe abashin ubo mba bai wu ai na we tilge hwen nge ezanu e tintiko da zan kunsin yan baba bai na bieji nanu e no gabie te gyun ata na baye hwe nshan bayiza jinwa dabelenu gabie wei busibi daya nu e tintiko da Tinubu kinwo onsin nje kaido ikpe tokun ikin toko da majin nan ayo Kashim Shetima anaye wolawo ga mwamwa wewe yingunya no owo atundin ba azawal wo be na beda nje musbau dan wahab wa ngage ayeku ye jibibi jin nun ikin toko da majin wa atundin ba nun zakokoi nje Usman alkali baba ngabe nun atundin jimba nun ikin toko da sapa nje femi Bajabi Amila nyaka nyenya George Akume bedenu azaje babe nyinu yeje ansu nshokwaye nko belen abaga azawewe atutun anya wagodia entin ngabie nun abada ajejelu ko goganya sepa nun etinye Salihu Abdul Hamid Dambos wagaga sepa ayiwenya nun peje ko balabache dinamona chowo da tutun jimbo na bage ba nwa ajuya kan nchede nun abaje mbabe sepayelo nkoyin sefia uche unama wala shiba webe na bedai wanga gabe majin no sepa abedanya na yo ayo adawi ewone dade no gabe aputa sa ne jin na sa adnagmai no ajuya sepa aishi abe awe mbajin baji chele mpo mputa nun abala na bai ajege abe banun akubajin ba jina gududu abo babu awule lainu sai su azanu shakwaji fiyowe
Jama'a masu kallo da sauraron mu assalamu alaikum barkanmu da warhaka ta kaishe ga fassarar wasu daga cikin labaranmu ne mai karantawa Yusuf Yakubu. Shugaban ƙasa Bola Ahmad Tinubu ya tashi daga nan birnin Abuja zuwa birnin Paris na ƙasar Faransa domin halartar taron ƙarawa juna sani akan harkokin kuɗin duniya. Shugaba Tinubu ya bar birnin Abuja da misalin karfe 11 na safiyar yau a filin jirgin sama na Nnamdi Azikiwe da ke nan birnin Abuja a tafiyarsa ta farko zuwa ƙasar waje a matsayinsa na shugaban ƙasar Najeriya. A cewar mai baiwa shugaba Tinubu shawara na musamman akan ayyuka na musamman sadarwa da tsare-tsare, ya ce tafiyar Tinubu na da matukar muhimmanci ga ƙasar nan. Mataimakin shugaban ƙasa Kashim Shetima ya baiwa sabon safetan 'yan sanda na ƙasa Kayode Ebetokun lambar zama shugaban 'yan sandan Najeriya. Taron wato wanda ya bashi matsayin da aka yi a ofishin mataimakin shugaban ƙasar ya hada da wasu 'yan ƙasa da suka hada da tsohon safetan 'yan sanda Usman Alkali Baba, shugaban ma'aikatan fadar shugaban ƙasa Femi Bajabiya Mila, sakataren gwamnatin Najeriya George Akume da sauransu. Shugaban gidan talabijin na ƙasa Salihu Abdulhamid Dambos ya ce ya zama wajibi sashen kuɗi na gidan su yi aiki tukuru domin tabbatar da cewa sun alkinta harajin gidan NTA. Shugaban ya bayyana haka ne a taron karawa juna sani na shugabannin akawuna gidan talabijin na NTA a faɗin ƙasar nan, wanda babban darakta Ayo Adewi ya wakilta a matsayin shugaban. Ƙarshen labaran namu ne kenan, sai kuma gobe idan Allah ya kai mu. Kwana lafiya.
nọ n'akụkọ ụwa nke taa, aha m bụ Rachel Ifi Ono. Gere akụkọ ụwa n'uju ya. Onyeisi ala anyị Bola Ahmed Tinubu esila isi ala anyị pụọ gaa mba Paris, bụ ebe ha ga-anọ wee nzukọ ga-amalite n'abalị 22 nke ọnwa Jun n'afọ 2023. Ya bụ onyeisi ala bụ onye mere njem mbụ ya site n'ọdụ ụgbọelu Nnamdi Azikiwe ga-esonye ndị isi mba ndị ọzọ leba anya n'ihe banyere akụ na ụba ma kwalitekwa mba ndị nwere nsogbu site na mgbanwe ihu igwe nakwa nje korona. Osote onyeisi ala anyị Kashim Shettima etubela Kayode Egbetokun ugo dịka onyeisi ndị uwe ojii ọhụrụ na ala anyị. Ya bụ emume were ọnọdụ n'ụlọ ọrụ osote onyeisi ala anyị na Abuja. O kwere nghọta na onye jibu ọkwa onyeisi ndị uwe ojii Usman Alkali Baba, onyeisi ndị ọrụ nke onyeisi ala anyị Femi Gbajabiamila, onye odeakwụkwọ gọọmenti ala anyị George Akume na ọtụtụ ndị ọzọ sonyere mgbe ha na-eme ya bụ emume. Ya bụ onyeisi ndị uwe ojii ọhụrụ kwukwara na ya adịla njikere ịmalite ọrụ ya na uju. Onyeisi n'ụlọ mgbasa ozi Nigerian Television Authority Salihu Abdulhamid Dembos ekwuola na ngalaba na-ahụ maka ngụkọ ego ga-agba mbọ ike ha ịhụ na ha chekwabara ego ya bụ ụlọ ọrụ. Sifia Nneoma Uche wetara akụkọ na ya bụ nwa amadi site n'ọnụ onye nnọchianya ya Ayo Adewuyi kwuru nke a mgbe ya na ndị isi na ngalaba ngụkọ ego n'ụlọ mgbasa ozi NTA niile n'ala anyị were nzukọ nke afọ a. Igbo bigbo ọgwụla akọ ha n'ọnụ.
Ẹ̀kọ́ kalẹ̀ o ẹ̀sìnkú dédé wòyí ìròyìn iléeṣẹ́ amóhùnmáwòrán ìkànnì Kanu ti ìlú Àbújá ló ń dé sí etí ìgbọ̀nyín. Mo Bọ́lájí Mátì ní oníròyìn. Ààrẹ Bọ́lá Tinubu ti fi orílẹ̀-èdè sílẹ̀ lóyún òní yìí láti kópa nínú ìjókòó àti foríkorí lórí ètò ẹ̀náwó tuntun lágbàáyé. Ètò náà yóò bẹ̀rẹ̀ ní ọjọ́ 22 oṣù yìí. Ọjọ́ méjì ni ètò náà yóò fi wáyé ní ilẹ̀ Faransé. Olùgbaninímọ̀ràn pàtàkì lórí àwọn iṣẹ́ pàtàkì Délé Aláké nínú ọ̀rọ̀ sọ wípé ìrìn àjò náà ní ọ̀pọ̀ àǹfààní fún orílẹ̀-èdè wa Nàìjíríà. Èyí sì ni iṣẹ́ àkọ́kọ́ tí ààrẹ Tinubu máa ṣe ní òkè òkun. Ní báyìí ààrẹ Tinubu ti gúnlẹ̀ sí ilẹ̀ Faransé. Ní báyìí igbákejì ààrẹ orílẹ̀-èdè Kashim Shettima ti fi àmì àgbéga lẹ́nu iṣẹ́ fún Káyọ̀dé Ẹgbẹ́tọ̀kùn gẹ́gẹ́ bí ọ̀gá àgbà ọlọ́pàá orílẹ̀-èdè. Alákòjọpọ̀ ìròyìn Musbau Dan Wahab ròyìn wípé ọ̀pọ̀ àwọn aṣíwájú tuntun ló pèsè níbi ètò náà. Lára wọn ni Fẹ́mi Gbàjàbíàmílà, George Akume, bẹ́ẹ̀ náà sì ni ọ̀gá àgbà ọlọ́pàá tó ń fi ipò ọ̀hún sílẹ̀ Usman Alkali Baba tí yóò gbé ọ̀pá àṣẹ lé ọ̀gá tuntun náà lọ́wọ́ ní ọ̀la òde yìí. Ọ̀gá àgbà iléeṣẹ́ amóhùnmáwòrán NTA Salihu Abdulhamid Dembos níbi ìjókòó àpérò ọdọọdún ti àwọn lọ́gàlọ́gà ẹ̀ka owó àti àmójú owó gbogbo ní iléeṣẹ́ amóhùnmáwòrán NTA yíká orílẹ̀-èdè sọ nínú ọ̀rọ̀ wípé wọ́n ní láti ṣiṣẹ́ takuntakun fún ààbò owó tó wọ iléeṣẹ́ ọ̀hún láìsí àní-àní. Alákòjọpọ̀ ìròyìn Sifia Nneoma Uche ròyìn wípé olùdarí ètò ìròyìn àgbà Ayọ̀ Adéwuyì ló ṣojú ọ̀gá àgbà Salihu Abdulhamid Dembos níbi ìjókòó náà. Kì í dùn kó pọ̀ ṣíún ní ọbẹ̀ oge títí wòye ọ̀la Ojúmọ́ Ire ni yóò mọ̀ wá.